Welcome back, y'all, and happy Wednesday to you. This is the Bluechip Breakdown, and I'm your host, Bull. On Wednesdays, we normally do my 7 keys to victory and a game prediction, but today we don't really need the keys to victory for Mississippi State. So we're going to talk more about 4 to 5 things that Tennessee needs to do in this game versus Mississippi State to look good for the college football playoff rankings, just because I know that there's still people that are concerned about what happens if Tennessee does drop a game. And I feel like Tennessee's going to win out. I think we are going to beat Georgia. So that's the best way to not only get into the college football playoffs, but to get that first round bye and everything else that we really want. So that's where I'm at with it. But we're going to do this for everyone else. And we'll also do the game prediction at the end. That won't take too long. So please do us a very big favor. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. All right, the first thing that Tennessee needs to do is control the game. We haven't done a great job with this offseason. All that means is we're winning for most of the game. We've been playing from behind, I think, way too much, especially versus teams that we should be blowing out. I did hear the chairman of the CFP team touching on this with several teams that he had ranked over this other team. So whenever you're talking about head-to-head and tiebreakers and all that type of stuff, that would look really good for us. We've got to start to do that, especially down this home stretch, because I think that there will be some recency bias that kind of comes into play with the overall voting. And Tennessee's opening script with our offenses looked good. We just haven't executed things well, whether it's with turnovers or just some mishaps. So I think that if Tennessee does win the coin toss, we take the football, we come down the field, and we score. Let our defense actually play with the lead for once. When's the last time our defense was playing with the lead, especially to start a game off? The defense plays completely different with the lead than they do when they're trailing. So that would, maybe help them to play with a little bit more swag, which I don't think that they're lacking too much of. But it could also help the offense have some more confidence and play with more, swag and confidence and things like that, that I feel like the offense is really missing. It's there a little bit in spurts, but if you go back to the NC State game and the attitude that everybody played with, even Nico, it's kind of run through people getting up and putting a bow in their neck. I mean, it's stuff like that. The offensive line escorting people out of bounds, wide receivers playing with that dog. And it's not just about playing with that dog and that physicality, which we always need to have, but also with a little bit more wiggle to our game, like just playing a little bit more loose. I think that if we can get off to a good start and get some confidence flowing, get some confidence going, then all of a sudden, man, like our entire offense could open up tremendously. So that's the first thing that I think Tennessee needs to do is just control the game from start to finish. That goes for offense, defense, special teams, and a whole lot goes into that. So y'all can add whatever you want to it. But the second thing will just be specifically for our defense. I think that we're doing a good job of getting pressure, but we've got to start to get more sacks. And I think that the main reason that we're not getting as many sacks is because I don't want to say that we're playing overly disciplined, and I don't want to necessarily take away from the discipline that we have with our pass rush lanes, but that's what I'm seeing, man. It's like, dude, you can beat this player that's blocking you if you just have a little bit of wiggle, if you play with a little bit more looseness to you, if it's not so straight up and down. It's too much of that going on, and we're just beating people with pretty much power or with speed. Throw some moves in there. I mean, it's time for that to happen because we've got too many good guys up front that just aren't getting to the quarterback on a consistent enough basis, especially James Pierce. I want to see him really open up a plethora of different moves, guys that are blitzing too. Our linebackers are not doing a good job blitzing, especially whenever they're blitzing more towards like the middle of an offensive line, not doing a good job of beating running backs. There's absolutely no reason that we outweigh this running back by 20 or 30 pounds and they're not on the ground. Okay, run through folks or use a move, do something, push and pull. It's just not enough of that. So we need to start to do more of that because if we do it, we're doing a nice job of generating turnovers. Last weekend we had 2 interceptions, maybe 2 forced fumbles, but we need to, I think, continue to do that. And the more that we're getting sacks, the more the teams will start to, the quarterbacks will start to get happy feet. The more that just everything kind of plays into our hands. So I would love to see that happen with our front, man. Put some more moves in there and go get the sacks. Don't worry so much about those pass rush lanes. Just go ball. We need to loosen that up a lot. Now, the third thing that I want to talk about is going to be specific to Nico. He needs to keep the football on those read options more. And I'm not saying just keep it for the sake of keeping it, but how read options work is there's a player that's unblocked. And if that player crashes down on the run to the running back, then Nico is supposed to be keeping that. He didn't always do that last week, and he hasn't always done that this entire season. But it's time for him to get back to doing that for sure because it is there. And it's not just about how that looks in the eyes of the, playoff voting team, but also in the eyes of teams like Georgia that we got coming up next weekend. Make them have the game plan for all of the tools that we can pull out. Nico's legs it's definitely a weapon that I feel like has been a little bit underutilized. He needs to kind of showcase that more. And I don't want him just to run for the sake of running, if that end kind of crashes down, which has actually kind of made some of our run plays look very stagnant because they're getting stopped at the line of scrimmage. But also, dude, try to score. Like, you don't always have to just get the ball and go out of bounds. Take it to the house. Like, have some wiggle to you. That would make us look really good, and it would make us an even more dangerous team, especially offensively. But the fourth thing that I want to talk about is trying to throw more deep passes because Tennessee hasn't really hit them. Some of that's just going to be based off of volume because you're not going to hit a large percentage of those plays. So maybe just increase that volume more. I think that would help because it feels like Tennessee's getting a lot closer to being able to hit them. And that's something that, especially in this game, we should have all day to stand back there and throw. So let's try to get more explosive plays down the field with some deep passes. We've got plenty of wide receivers, plenty of weapons everywhere that can make things happen down the field. We got to get that confidence going. We got to get that swag back. And if nothing else, man, get a pass interference call, right? I mean, that should be almost automatic, and we need to start looking for that more. I don't mean that we're just flopping and all that type of stuff, but you can make a catch and still look for the PI call. That's what I want to see more of. Like, let's start talking to the rest more. Like, let's just open it up. We're playing too conservative. It's time for us to loosen up and play with just more of that swag. Not just dog, but just more of that, like 1990s Tennessee. You know what I'm saying? We need a lot more of that. And I think that we will be just fine for the rest of the season. All right, now it's time for my game prediction. And we'll start off with Tennessee's defense versus Mississippi State's offense. So we know that they've got some really good players. I like their quarterback. I think that he operates their offense well. They've got a really nice scheme. It's just like ours. They're going to go tempo. The offensive line isn't great in pass protection. It's more about them not doing a good job of picking up stunts and blitzes, things like that. But they've got guys on the outside too that I feel like can stretch the field vertically. They're tough. They're going to make physical catches. And if you don't tackle them, they will keep running. They'll make you miss all that type of stuff. And then, they've got a good running back. They've got a good tight end. So they've got plenty of tools that I feel like could pose some problems to Tennessee on defense. So here's the deal, right? With them running that tempo, with all the different sets and, motions and things like that they'll do in between each play with tempo, Tennessee is going to have some automatic coverages or, just calls, period, on defense based off of the looks that they're getting. So this is where Tim Banks is going to be really genius at, or, I wouldn't even say he's going to have to be genius, but this is where he's going to come into play at in this game. He's going to have to do a good job of kind of switching things up. I could definitely see a situation where Mississippi State comes out and has success early on with some of the things that they're doing. And it might take Tennessee, a series or two to get their automatic calls adjusted before, we can kind of slow down what Mississippi State likes to do. Something else that's going to be really big is our linebackers or safety or whoever is going to be making the calls on defense. They're going to have to be on point. Now, I will tell you this, our defense, I feel like they've understood what an offense is trying to do to them on almost every single play this entire season. A couple times, we might have got caught, not doing the correct thing, but that is going to happen. But for the most part, I think that those guys do a really nice job in the film study. So I trust our young linebackers, if those are the ones, they're going to be getting the calls in from the headsets, from Coach Tim Banks and all that type of stuff to make sure that we are in the proper plays working up against this tempo. But that right there, I think that should maybe bode well in Tennessee's favor, at least hopefully it does. But it's really just going to be about basic fundamental stuff, y'all, making tackles, being in the right spot because Mississippi State is going to run some RPOs, which will put the stress on second level players and third level players in different, different variants, all that type of stuff. All that means is our linebackers, our safeties, our cornerbacks, and our star player, they're just going to have to do their job, or whoever's dropping in coverage, they're going to have to do their job. Our guys up front, they've got to do their job. As long as we just do our job and we don't try to play hero ball and try to do someone else's job, Tennessee will be in the correct spots to stop plays. Now, we won't stop all of them. Some of them will kind of, go for 5 yards or whatever it is. But as long as we don't just let them go off with a whole bunch of big plays, that's the thing. You got to limit the explosive plays from an offense like this and make them have to try to sustain those drives because in situations like that, especially if it gets to like a third and short or, third down period where Tennessee's defense is number one in the entire country. But once we kind of get to some of those short yardage situations and we know, hey, Mississippi State's got to try to run the football right at us, that's where we can get off the field. Or if it's an obvious passing situation, that's where we get those turnovers. That's where we get off the field. So it's just going to be about a whole lot of basic fundamental football stuff from our defense. But I would expect, again, maybe a little bit of success from a really good offense, with a lot of very good players. But Tennessee should be able to limit, and I would say for the most part, shut down what that offense likes to do. Now, let's talk about Tennessee's offense versus Mississippi State's defense. I would say that, man, like whatever we want to do, we should be able to do just because this is a defense that is not good at stopping the run. They're not good at stopping the pass. Their linebackers are like a liability out in coverage. So our tight end should be able to go to work. Our running back should have plenty of running lanes to run the football through. Their front isn't strong. Our offensive line should be able to push them around. Nico should look great. He should look crisp. He should be able to use his legs. He should be able to throw inside of a very clean pocket because they've only had 7 sacks this whole season. So, I mean, throwing the football deep down the field should definitely be there. I mean, everything is on the table. I would expect for our offense to look exactly how Coach Heupel and Coach Halsey wanted to look. Okay, like the execution just needs to be there because we're going up against. I don't want to say air, but we're almost going up against our scout team. And I hate to kind of take a shot at Mississippi State because that's not what I'm trying to do, but I'm just calling it like I see it. There's no reason that this offense isn't extremely, extremely, extremely productive coming up this weekend. This will probably be the worst defense that we've faced all year. That includes anyone that Tennessee's played. So I am expecting Tennessee to put up, I'm going to say at least 40 points in this game. Okay. I would expect for Tennessee to control this game, to dominate this game from start to finish and to look really good doing it. I want to see more celebrations. Okay. I want to see more of our teammates celebrating with us. I want to see a Tennessee team that looks confident, that looks like they are expecting to go to Athens next week and win. All right, that's what I'm looking forward to, which y'all can tell. I'm pretty much looking past Mississippi State. But those are my thoughts. Please let me know yours down in the comment section. And as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share with your friends, family, and other volunteer fans. We'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks. Peace.